Good evening. How are you? Good. Well, tonight I'm going to continue question number 1 from last week. But before I go there, I would like to start with this. We just sang praise and worship, and those 3 sentences, that I sang, or I just stared on the PowerPoint, and I was just thinking about those three sentences, that you guys just sang, and I was just asking myself, maybe I should keep my mouth shut. Here's my heart, right? And here's my life. And what was the next sentence? Speak what is true. And here's my heart, and then you give it to what? You give it to the Lord, right? And here's my life, you give it to the Lord. And speak what is true. So when I see those sentences, wow. And what do you think when you sing, when you are singing, like how much of your heart, how much of your heart you give it to the Lord? How much of your life, you give it to the Lord? Or is that just a song for you? If you really think about, that, sometime our Christian life, and, I'm a learner, I'm still learning. And, you do too, We have to fix our life, we have to, I still need to fix my life, as my, kids. I teach at the front, and I'm still fixing, my life with scripture and whatever it is. So I would like you to do the same. When you're singing, or whatever it is. If you say that, if you speak the truth, is it really that you would like to give your life and your heart to the Lord? And if that is so, I don't need to answer question number 1, right? So let's see that, what is question number 1? Some of you were here last time, and you'll see that from the screen. What does it mean when you don't give offering or tithe? So if you give your life, your heart, whatever it is, offering or tithing, and your money would not be a matter, right? Everything belongs to whom? To God. So there's no question asked. But we have to answer this question because what? We don't give all of our life. We don't give all of our heart, right, to the Lord. That's why we have to say the truth. We have to keep, go back and ask, how much of that I would like to give to the Lord. And also, that's true to the offering. So money, last week we talked about money. Money is just a piece of what? Paper or a materials or a thing. But we understand that money change, everything of our life. Every way we look, every way we speak, every way we do, it's all about money. Money has become a big issue in our life. Right? So money is important to your education, right? Money is important for your what? Food, right? You have to buy food, food to eat. And, a lot of families today, in America or all over the world, families, couples are divorced because of money. Parents divorce, they are fighting, right? You go to the courtroom and you see that people are suing each other for what? Money, right? So money is everywhere, everything. But we understand that money is just a paper. But if you don't understand that, it will become a big problem. So when Adam and Eve was around, is there any money at that time? No. So how did they survive? The food, of course, right? But after Adam and Eve sinned, and, Cain, Abel, and, the descendant of, like maybe Noah or whatever it is. At that time, do they have money like the money that we are using right now? No. So how do they trade and how do they, survive? Yeah, they have property, right? I give you my shirt and you give me your what? Food or something like that. I give you this and you give me that. Isn't it? So, but instead of that, we replace with what? Money. Right? So that's why money becomes very important in our life. And everything, just look at everything, if you would like to cut a good haircut, you have to pay what? Good money. And you have to pay tips. You go to a good restaurant, you have to pay a good amount of money to eat. So last week, do you understand when people, in the Old Testament time, people give, right? And when people give, do you still remember how did Abraham give? What did he give? Yeah, he gave, 1/10, right? Of his what? Everything that he just, he came back from a battle and then he, gave 1/10 of everything to Melchizedek, the priest, the high priest. And we're going to continue, looking at that. And also Jacob. Jacob made a vow. Let's go to the slide, to Jacob. And I would like to talk about, a little bit about tithing and stuff like that tonight. And Jacob also gave, to the Lord. 1/10. Let's keep going to slide, Genesis chapter 28. So keep going down. Keep going. Keep going. We finished that already. One more. Okay. There it is. So Jacob made a vow, right? So when he said, when he is going to give money to the Lord or giving a tithe to the Lord, he made a vow, right? So when you're doing tithing, when you give your money to the Lord, do you make a vow like Jacob? Right? So Jacob made a vow to what? He said that if God will be with me and will keep me in this way that I go, and will give me bread to eat and clothing to wear, so that I come again to my father's house in peace, then the Lord shall be my God. And this stone, which I have set up for a pillar, shall be God's house. And of all that you give me, I'll give a full 10th to you. See? If you, carefully think, and, look at the life of Jacob, or the way that Jacob gave, it is not even like a good way to give your tithe, right? I don't think that's a proper way to give of your tithing. He just make a deal with God. If you give me something, or if you bring back, safely to my father's house, and, I will give my 10th from, that. And also he understand that, and all of that you give me. Right? He understood that, whatever he had, that God, provided. So he said, I'll give back to you 1/10. So Jacob didn't say that I will give everything, my life, my heart, my money, everything to you. No, he said, I'll give only what? 1/10. So tonight, we have to understand that, I don't know how much money in your pocket right now. Right? But, or how much money in your bank. If you're saying your heart, your life, you give it to the Lord, then I have to come and get everything for the Lord. Then you say what? No, not at this time. It's too soon. So let's go to the next slide. Joseph. And Genesis chapter 41. Let's read it together. Lest Pharaoh proceed to appoint oversee over the land. Read it loud, okay? Just look at that and then, focus on the scripture. Let's read it again. Let Pharaoh proceed to appoint overseer over the land, and take 1/5 of the produce of the land of Egypt during the 7 plentiful years, and let them that are coming and store up grain under the authority of Pharaoh for food in the cities, and let them keep it. Their food shall be a reserve for the land against the 7 years of famine that are to occur in the land of Egypt, so that the land may not perish through the famine. So here is another way of giving, right? But this is giving is not to the Lord, but to whom? 1/5 of the produce. So 1/5 of the produce means, the people has to give how much? 20%, right? So we're not giving 10%. We give those people are giving 20% to whom? They have to give it to whom? Not to the Lord, but to whom? Pharaoh. So Pharaoh was at that time he was a king of Egypt. So in order, why they have to pay that amount of, their produce or whatever at that time, their wealth to the Pharaoh. There is a famine coming, so they have to, prepare. They have to prepare. So Joseph gave an idea that, everybody has to. This is must, not a free will offering. This is must. Everybody should give. If they don't give, they'll do something to the citizen, right? So that's not a kind of free will offering. So this is a kind of a demand, So let's go to the next slide, 47. Let's keep reading. Then Joseph said to the people, "Behold, I have this day brought you and your land for Pharaoh. Now here is seed for you, and you shall sow the land. And at the harvest you shall give 1/5 to Pharaoh, and 4/5 shall be your own, as seed for the field, as food for yourself, and as food for your little ones." So the same way, right? This is another 7 years, and then, these guys ran out of food. They came back and they said, what? Now I'm going to give this to you, but how much you have to give me back? 1/5, right, to Pharaoh. This is not a free will offering, right? They have to sell or they have to trade, and, they have to give, in a demand. So do you see that what if they don't give? At that time, what will happen to them? They'll die. They cannot survive. Or maybe they'll kick them out of Egypt. Right? So do you understand, do you see the way that he came through? Abraham, right? Jacob, and now it's to Joseph. And we understand that before that, Abraham, Jacob, when they give, did the Lord command them to give to him? No. Right? Everything is what? Free will. But now after the laws are given, we know that the laws are given, by the Lord through whom? Through Moses. See, after the laws are given, the Israelites have to give what? 1/10, right? 1/10, they whatever they possess, they have to give 1/10 to whom? There are a certain group that they have to give, right? So and then the Lord said, you give if you want. Don't worry about, if you don't have, don't give. Did the Lord say that? No, He said what? You must. You must. But before we understood that there was no must, right? Everything was what? Free will. So let me ask you the question: how do you give today? Must or free will offering? right? The way you give it to the Lord. How do you give? And you have to ask yourself. That is for those who are young. That might be. You may not still thinking about it, but those who are adult and you started thinking this. And this is going to be kind of a serious question to you, right? How do you give? A must, or you just do as a free will? Then the Bible said, in the book of Malachi, test and see. And if you give what? 1/10, and then God will do what? Open the heaven and bless you. So some people like that kind of blessing. Wow, if I do that, so I have to keep, my tithe, in place, and then so that God will bless me. Right? So let's go to the next slide. We keep going that, and so that we can find out. Number 18. The Lord said that. Okay? Let's read it. To the Levites. To the Levites, I have given every tithe in Israel for an inheritance. In return for their service that they do, their service in the tent of meeting, so that the people of Israel do not come near the tent of meeting, lest they be sin and die. So who are the Levites according to this scripture here? Who are the Levites? To the Levites, they do what? In return of their service, they do that in where? In the tent of meeting. Where is that? In the tabernacle, right? So the tent of meeting, do Abraham have the tent of meeting before? Did Jacob have the tent of meeting before? No, but at the time of Moses, they have what? The tent of meeting. So in the tent of meeting, who are walking in the tent of meeting? The Levites. The Levites are doing the ministry, the service in the tent. So, and who command the Israelites to give to the Levites? God. Right? So God. So according to our knowledge of the Bible, the history, the book, from the Old Testament, who are the king of the Israelites? Before King Saul. King Saul was the first king, right? But even before King Saul, who was their king at that time? God. How do you know God was their king? We know that from the book of Samuel, right? From the book of Samuel. And when Samuel was old, his son was not walk according to, like him, and like they are kind of corrupt. And then the people of the elder, from the Israelites came and said, "What? You are old. Your sons are not, walk according to, the way of God. So give us what? Give us the king. Like other nations. Give us the king." And then Samuel said, "Wow, you guys are so wise. Okay, I'll give you the king." He didn't say that, right? He was so what? So sad, upset. And then the Lord spoke to Samuel, right? What did the Lord spoke to Samuel? They are not get rid of you. Instead, they are getting rid of what? Me as their king. See, according to that scripture, we knew that God was what? The king of the Israel at that time. So when God set up this law, through Moses, and God said to give Levites the 1/10 of everything that you owe. Right? So the Lord is saying that I am the king. Like we know that the Lord is unseen, is a spirit. So God said, who? The servicemen, those are the Levites. So that whoever, that work in the tent, the Levites, the people has to give their 1/10, and it's not a free will offering, it is what? Must. It's like what? In the time of what? Pharaoh. Right? The Egyptian gave their money to whom? Pharaoh. What kind of giving was that? Must give. It wasn't a free will offering. So now, according to, Numbers 18, God set up a kind of pattern. Because people don't really, give, whatever, they even like, let's go to the next slide. And this is from Deuteronomy chapter 12. Let's read this. But you shall seek the place that the Lord your God will choose out of all your tribes to put their names and make his habitation there. There you shall go, and there you shall bring your burnt offerings and your sacrifice, your tithes, and the contribution that you present, your vow offerings, your freewill offerings, the firstborn of your herd and of your flock. And there you shall eat before the Lord your God, and you shall rejoice, you and your households, in all that you undertake, in which the Lord your God has blessed you. See? In order for God to bless people, then God set up a kind of place for the Israelite to what? To go and eat with their family, to make a kind of a festival, to celebrate. And those feasts, out of 7 feasts, and 3 of them, all the male, of the Israelites, the male has to be there. And it's not like, I don't want to go, I'll stay home. No, they cannot do that. It must. They have to appear before the Lord. Right? They have to be there. If they are not, if they don't go there, there will be a great, problem, in their family and for themselves. Right? So at that time, they have to bring what? Even their what? Their tithe. To take there and eat. Right? So this is a kind of the feast, the festival that God set up for people. See, that kind of money were used, tithing were used, in those places. Right? First thing was used for whom? The Levites. Right? And according to this scripture, we know that those tithes were used for what? The festival. The feast that people were celebrating. Right? This is a national kind of feast. Right? God set up that. And let's go to the next slide. This is from chapter 14. And let's read that. At the end of every 3 years, you shall bring out all the tithe of your produce in the same year and lay it up within your towns. And the Levites, because he has no portion or inheritance with you, and the sojourner, the fatherless, and the widow, who are within your towns, shall come and eat and be filled, that the Lord your God may bless you in all the work your hands that you do. So the third way of giving your tithe is, a part of the Levites. And not only that, the second one is for the festival and stuff like that. And according to chapter 14, these money are used to do what? The fatherless, the widower, the sojourner, right? So that they can come and eat and fill themselves. So it's kind of using for what? Charity. Right? Because at that time, who was the government? God. God was the king. God was running the affair of the nation. So whatever, fees are, needed, people has to give, must give. So whenever, so when you look back and, according to, the book and the scripture, all free will offerings that people give, freely to whom? To the Lord. And whatever, required giving, mass kind of giving is giving to whom? To the king or to the government. You see that? It's the same way we are doing today. The same way that pattern was set up. Right? You're just using your money, but without thinking, you just use it. Anyway, you have to use it anyway. But without thinking of it, you're just spending your money. So when you go from state to state in United States, when you buy your clothes, when you buy something, your soda, or when you buy something, like popcorns or whatever you eat, you have to pay what? Tax. The government collect that, right? The government collect that. And where did the government use that? Where do the government use the tax? For the government affair, right? Everything, charity and whatever you name it, they use it for that. And you said that I'm going to buy a coffee. I just want to pay for the coffee. I don't want to pay tax. Have you ever said that? I'm just going to buy a cookie, 50 cents, but the tax with tax maybe like 56 cents. I don't want to pay 6 cents. I just want to pay 50 cents. Can you do that? No. Those are what? Must. You must. If you don't, what? Don't live in this country. Right? Get out. This is a kind of must. To whom? You give it to whom? To the government. But you come to the church and said, hey, if I said, you must, I'm going to put a big, collection box and every one of you, come and listen a message, you have to pay tax. If I set up a box like that, will you still come here? Can I collect you like that? That kind of money? Of course not. I said, no way. What church is that? Right? Who are you? Right? See, do you understand what I'm saying? See, the way you use your money, you just use it, but you don't think twice. You would like to buy something, you use it, but anyway, you are set up in a pattern, and this is how you do this is how you do that, this is how other people do this, and we are functioning in that kind of society. Everywhere you go live in third world country, you live in the United States, whatever it is, Europe, the same way, it's function like that. So now let's go back and make our thinking straight. Money is what? Just a kind of paper, piece of paper. But on top of that, many things getting complicated, right? And we don't like to think much about it. So let's go to the next slide. I'd like to end this topic today. In Matthew 17, let's read it. When they came to Capernaum, the collectors of the 2 drachma tax went up to Peter and said, does your teacher not pay the tax? So even at that time, at the time of Jesus and, the disciple has to give what? Tax. Jesus said, yeah, I pay tax, and then Peter had to do what? Do you remember the story? What Peter did? People went and fished, right? Jesus put some kind of money in the mouth of the fish, and then, okay, give the tax. Because Jesus, according to the scripture from Haggai last week we read, right? God owned everything, right? The silver, the gold, and everything. So God just took a piece of silver from the mouth of the fish, and He paid His tax. To who? It's not to God, to whom? To the government. Okay, next slide. Matthew 22. Let's read it together. Tell us, then, what you think. Is it lawful to pay taxes to Caesar or not? So what was the answer? 21, they said, Caesar's. Then he said to them, therefore, render to Caesar the things that are Caesar, and to God the things that are God's. So, here, think about it. You have to give the things that are Caesar to the Caesar, and the things that are God to God. So we just sang the song, right? I give my what? My heart. I give my life. Why are you saying that? If you understood that, everything belonged to whom? To God. To God, the things that are God. Give it back to God freely, willingly, whatever it is that comes from your heart. Right? So, let's go to another one. And I would like to finish with this. Luke 6. Give, and it will be given to you. Good measure, pressed down, shaken together, running over, will be put into your lap. For with the measure you use it be measured back to you. It wasn't a requirement kind of giving. It is what kind of giving is this? Free will. Give and you will be given to you. How much you give? If you give $1, you'll get what? $1 back. You give $100, you get what? Maybe more than $100. Because what? Press down, measure, shaking, running over. This is how God would like to give to all of you here, to me, to all of you, if we just give from our heart. Not a kind of requirement, this is to God, this is, it's not like that. So, but, this is just a simple way of, I'm just stating this. Do you have to give? If you don't give, what happened? Just go back and the basic line, money is what? Just a piece of paper. But your heart is the matter. Right? God look at your heart, and that's how He would like to bless you. You just figure it out. How do you give? If you don't give, it's not a problem. God will bring a storm, a thunderstorm, and kill you. But it's up to you. How do you like to give? Right? So there are many, story from the Bible that, we can talk about giving. But overall, just give to the Lord from your heart. Right? Then, He'll give it back to you what? A lot of blessing. Isn't that great? Yeah, it's very important. Giving is very important. Just give. Try. Test and see that the Lord is good. Okay? But don't give that you must or you have to. Just give freely. Okay? God bless you all.